Welcome to the next video on doing a training on panel characteristics. So I want to go over some of the panels that we use and some of the panels that are out there. But basically overall just having you have an understanding of how to read a data sheet. Not all panels are created equal, and so if anybody is trying to say, oh, this is a great panel, this is a new panel, or whatever, you could literally look at the data sheet, break it down, and then jump into Excel and start doing some assumptions on the array, the performance array, and all that kind of stuff. So let's jump into it. I'll show you kind of what we're working with here. So here's the Panasonic panel that actually is last year's series. They just came out with a new one this year, this week. So we're in 2019. I'm kind of excited. They came out with a 340. I really wish they would come out with like a 360 or a 380 or even a 400. That'd be great. But here are the characteristics to look at. Panel efficiency, temperature coefficiency, linear warranty, and panel degradation. Okay, so I like how Panasonic lists it right out here. So here's the panel efficiency. Here is the temperature coefficiency right here. Here is the linear warranty, which is down here, and also has to do with the degradation. So over the 25-year panel, oh, I'm sorry, here's the linear warranty. Over the 25-year panel, the degradation is going to affect the linear warranty output. So what do all of these mean? Well, panel efficiency just has to do with how much wattage is being output for the area of the panel. So really large panel putting out 300 watts, low efficiency. Really large panel putting out 400 watts, a little bit better efficiency. Really small panel putting out high watts, really high efficiency. So that's what that basically means for efficiency. Now, temperature coefficiency has to do with how well it performs in temperate zones. So if you're in an area where you have really extreme summers or really hot seasons, the temperature coefficiency is something to look at because of the temperature loss. Now, there are programs out there and inverter programs that will actually do analysis on your area and what the weather zone says that the highs will be, the historical highs and that kind of stuff, and you'll do a nice guesstimation. But this also shows what the panel performance will do in those temperature exposures. So keep that in mind. And then the linear warranty has to do with what it's going to perform after 25 years. This is a really big deal because you're buying, obviously in this case, a 330 watt panel. How much of that 330 watts are you going to get over 25 years? And that's what the linear warranty talks about. Now what affects the linear warranty is the panel degradation. Now every panel has degradation. Some have really high degradation, some a little bit low, but overall every one of them they degrade over time. So I want to show you how to do those calculations out of the data sheet. Now, like I said, Panasonic just kind of says it right in front, which I like, but we're going to dig into the actual data sheet and show you these numbers inside the small print. All right, so here's a small print. So 90.6 in the linear warranty, first year 97%, and if we jump down here to this fine print, it even says it. Here's the fine print on the panel, and I don't know if you can see it on the screen. I can zoom up to it. There we go. So 97% will be the output for the first year, and then 0.26 after that, and then here's the standard testing conditions for temperature coefficiency. The panels are all tested in 25 degrees Celsius. And then let me go ahead and zoom back out here. The temperature coefficiency for these panels are 26, I believe, or 25.8. And they are right here. All right, so here's the temperature coefficiency, the characteristics. So you're always looking for Pmax. Pmax is the result of the voltage and the amp effect. So as the temperature goes up or down, as the temperature goes up, it's going to be affected by, it's going to affect the amps by 3.3. and it's going to affect the voltage down by 0.16 volts. When you calculate those out, it comes out to the Pmax, which is the wattage output. And basically what it means is for every degree above the standard testing temperature, you're going to lose or gain this amount on your panels. So if you happen to live in a climate where you get really high sun, but it's 25 degrees outside or 13 degrees outside Fahrenheit, it's going to affect your wattage output, and that's what this number is saying. So that's how that works out. We obviously went over the linear efficiency or the linear warranty, and then we went over panel degradation down over here. And then the panel efficiency is right here. So here's the panel efficiency, which has to do with module. They call panels modules officially. So that's how you can read the data sheet for this one. So let's jump over to LG. So here's an LG. It gives us the linear warranty of 25 years. It's going to output 88 at the end of the 25 years, 88.4. And then let's look at the temperature characteristics. So down here, here's the temperature characteristics. So again, looking for Pmax. Here's the Pmax at negative 0.3%. And then here's the linear warranty details for the LG. So 98% output for the first year, and then 0.4 loss every year after that. And then after 25 years, it should be at 88%. 88.4%. And then here is the module efficiency. Where is that at? Current volt module efficiency. Here we go. We're at 20.3. And again, module efficiency is the size of the panel. So this is, I think, in it's in inches as well. So it's 40 inches by, oh man, I can't even read it, and I'm sitting here next to the screen. It's 40 inches by 66 inches. So pretty good sized panel for the amount of watts that you're getting out. And I think they actually even make a 365 watt in the Neon 2 category, or series I should say. So overall decent panel, pretty good characteristics. Now let's look at the Hanawa. The Hanawa Q-Cell, this is their generation 5.2 and 19% efficiency. They've done a really good job of reducing their degradation over previous years. So that's good. And then here's their degradation listed in their linear warranty section. So we have degradation of 0.54 and a linear warranty of 85% production over 25 years. First year is going to output 98%. And then temperature coefficiency on this panel is a 0.37. Again, always looking for Pmax. So those are the characteristics that really define what a panel is going to output over the long term. Oh, the last one we looked at, sorry, was the efficiency. So here's the efficiency. Those are the panel. That's how it's going to affect it over time. Now, here's one panel that is American-made panel. You can do the comparison on this one. The efficiency is still, pretty high for the module output. However, for the overall output over 25 years, a little bit lower than some of the other panels that we're looking at. So 97% the first year, and then it doesn't actually give the degradation rating. I even was reading the fine print, and it doesn't have it listed. It might be listed under the warranty, which is a separate document, but I'm going to show you how we could do the calculation if it doesn't list. So the way you do it is you take the 97% and you calculate off of 100% the first year, and then you minus 0.802 from 97%. So 0.97 minus 0.802. 802. And that's going to give you the difference, and then you divide that by the linear warranty amount, which is 25 years, which comes out to, I believe, 0.672. So let's take all these numbers and let's see what it actually means for output. So here is our, here's our temperature coefficiency window. So we'll talk about temperature coefficiency first. So I'm comparing here the Panasonic to the Hanawa Q-Cell. And so here's the Celsius rating and the conversion to Fahrenheit calculation. So that way I have my Fahrenheit. So here we are at 77 degrees at 25 degrees Celsius. So 77 degrees Fahrenheit is where it's standard testing conditions. So we'll have zero effect on the wattage output. All right. So right here is baseline. Now, for every degree below and every degree up, we have a PV rating of 5940 output. Well, when we go down a degree, we now go 5969, and then 6000, and then so on and so forth. So if you were in 1 degree Celsius weather, you would actually impact the panel by 19 watts greater for every panel, and with an 18 panel array, you're actually going to be gaining almost 300 watts, 400 watts worth of power output. So, and then you can always adjust this and say, oh, let's see if I'm building a 22 panel array. Okay, there's my output. Now let's go in reverse. Same thing over here. If I have 170 degree Fahrenheit, 77 degrees, I'm going to be losing 42 watts per panel. And so now that's affecting my output by 6316. Here, let me change it back to 18 because we were talking about 18 numbers. So I go from 59 to 51. So I'm losing 800 watts of output from the temperature on the roof being in a really hot temperature. So most roofs run right around here. So these are the numbers that you want to look at for panel output. And now let's go look at this really high-end Q cell, 390 Q cell. We're losing 13% because of the temperature coefficiency of 0.37. We're at 6240 for the PV size, and being right here in the 140 to 150 range, you can see that even though it's a larger panel, it's still performing similarly to the Panasonic because of the temperature coefficiency on the roof. So, like I said, some inverter systems will take this into account, but there you go. You can actually run these numbers by yourself. Here's the formula on how I calculated it. So I took, we'll go up here. So I took A6, which is the Celsius, and then I minused it by 25, which is the standard testing degree. So I minused it by 25. That'll give me the difference, which in this case it's going to be a negative 25. So that negative 25 is going to now affect to a negative calculation because this is the temperature coefficiency. So now it's timesing that by the temperature coefficiency, and now that's how I'm getting the 8% offset for the temperature coefficiency. And then the impact is now taking the wattage times the coefficiency impact, and so now I'm getting a 34% positive. And in reverse the other way, we go the other way. So now A21, which is 31 minus 25, is now given a positive number, times the negative number is now going to give me a negative number, and where I get the negative 2.2% loss. And then you times that by the wattage of the panel, and then this number is basically timesing out the array of 16 times the 390. Now if you look right here, the array is almost the same size, right? The 390s are a little bit greater. If we had 375s up here, maybe it might be right in line with it. Yeah, we'll do 375. So 375 is in that same series. It still has the same temperature coefficiency. And then when you start looking at the 140 degree temperatures on the roof, you can see that the Panasonics actually outperform the Q cells. So keep this in mind when you're doing your research on a panel. All right, so now that's temperature coefficiency. So now let's take a look at panel degradation. So I've put across the panels that we were looking at. I've even added in a Seraphim 360, and you'll just have to trust me that I added in this number correctly because that was what the Seraphim said it would output. It would output 80.6 over the course of 25 years. And so here's how you do the calculation, just like I said. Actually, that was the only one I did the calculation on. But here we go. We'll do it on this one. So negative, I'm sorry, 0.672, right? So here's how we're going to do the calculations using this number right here. So we're going to go parenthesis 0.97 minus the 0.802, and then divide it by 25. Oh, and I forgot to give it an equal. There we go, an equation. There we go, just like I said, the 0.67. So 0.672 is the calculation for the panel degradation on the mission. And I went ahead and just started the wattage for the panel itself. What is the panel going to output at the end of 25 years? What is the panel going to output at the end of 25 years here? What is the total amount of production from year 1 all the way to year 25? And that's a summarization right here. And then what am I paying for this panel? So I was able to find these prices for these particular panels, and maybe you can find some other prices, but this is kind of the generalistic cost per watt over the lifetime of that panel, what that panel is going to produce. Now if I had a 390 watt Q cell system and the array was pushing out 10,000 watts, we could do the same thing over the course of 25 years and see what the total production would be, and then what it would be for cost for the system, because obviously if that's 18 panels, then I'm going to have to go $250 times 18 panels. Okay, so now there's my true cost of that system, if that makes sense. So figuring out which panel is going to equal your overall production is what the degradation is going to show. So now let's look at some of the numbers here. So we have 390. The first year's degradation is going to be 98% loss, right? Or 98% output, which is 2% loss. So the first year, what I do is I times the wattage by the first year according to the linear chart. And then the next year, I can't do the same thing, but now I'm basing it off this first year's number. So what I do is I take the panel degradation, which is 0.54 according to the data sheet, and then I times it by the last year's or the first year's wattage. So now I've lost, say 8 watts or something like that, 6 watts. I've lost 6 watts, and then I minus that off of the wattage of that last year. So every year I just keep going the next year, and so now I end up, 10 years in, I'm at 360 watts on a 390 panel. And you can see the same thing on the Panasonic. So the Panasonic 335s, the newer ones, I put them on here. You just make it 30 if you want to. And then it calculates. So you can see at the end of 25 years, even though the Seraphins are 360 or the Missions are 365, they're actually underperforming compared to the Panasonics. However, overall, they've outproduced the Panasonic by like 300 watts. But then go ahead and take into account the temperature coefficiency on these panels. Are these panels going to perform in a hot climate over the Panasonics or the Q cells? So you got to take a look at those. So now you're looking at the actual longevity of the product itself. And so understanding those characteristics are crucial when you're reviewing different panels. Like, yeah, the Missions are a cheaper panel and they're less expensive, but are they going to perform for your particular roof type, your temperature area for where you're at, how many sun hours? Taking all that into account is what's important when you're looking at these panels. So I hope that going over the information that we talked about today really broadens your horizon in understanding a data sheet, a panel data sheet, and giving you a better understanding of a comparison of like, oh yeah, that's a great name brand, but what is it actually going to outperform? Like, how is it going to handle these different, climates or temperatures or pitches and things like that? And keep in mind that all of these calculations are based on the output of a south-facing roof. So now you take into account shading, you take into account east-facing or west-facing, and now your number is completely changed. So, but understanding the difference in comparison these panels is what I wanted to show today. So again, thank you for taking the time. If you have any questions, just leave a comment in the video section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful day.